Hello. Can y'all see me or hear me? Hey, I'm over here just going, just talking, and thanks, Mel. How are you doing, Mel? Can everybody hear me? I don't know if people heard me. I think I wasn't on. I thought I was on live, but I guess it didn't work. Oh my gosh. I just hit the live button again, and now it's showing that I am. So I'm all right. So let me start over. How y'all doing today? Look, say I'm new to this, but I'm true to this. Oh my gosh. I'm just a going talking about my little June challenge. And I'm like, okay. But I saw people, a couple people in the chat, and I thought it was already live, honey. Sorry about that. All right. So, hi, Hajarine. How are you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well. And it's a new day. How are you doing? And the Mill B. Hi. How are you tonight? Okay, great. Great, great. I'm over here just going. Thought I was on live, and I actually clicked the button at 8. And yeah, guess not. Mel text me like, "Hey Kim, are you? People are waiting. You got people waiting on you." Yeah, I guess I was in a waiting status or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, that's why I said I'm new to this, but but I'm true to this. Hello, Downsizing Diva. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. All right. Yes, good, Hajarine. I'm happy you're feeling better. Good, good, good. Awesome. So glad. So glad. Yes. So yeah, so I was just asking, Hajarine, I was asking you, are you still in your challenge that you were doing in June? I know you were doing your walking, getting your like some movement exercise in. Are you still on that now? Or are you done? Were you just doing it for the 30 days, or how are you doing it? And I was explaining, I was on a challenge in June as well of movement for 30 days. So it was 30 days of walking, or some kind of movement, for 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes a day. And I was successfully able to do that. I had not posted it like every day like some people did, but it was for my own accountability. I did, record it, most days. I didn't start recording until late, so I just jumped on it, on June 1st, but I didn't start recording. I forgot when I started actually recording myself a little bit, as if it's going to be some shorts, doing a short. But I think I may kind of put something together just to kind of show on the channel that, I was doing my thing. So I use my treadmill. I showed you all the treadmill. I put a video out. It was actually like 12 something this morning. But I'm a late night, owl. owl. But yeah. So I had already opened it a little bit, some, but I mean, I had already opened it, and I just started working, on it in June. So yeah, but I want to show you all, the unboxing, I just want to do it, unboxing. So yeah, I ended up, using the treadmill to do my 30 minutes a day for 30 days. But I did get outside one day. It's been so hot here. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard to get outside. So I'm happy. That's why I'm happy I got a treadmill, so that I can, still get my walk in. Because, before this journey, I wasn't doing a whole lot of walking. Matter of fact, I was doing a whole lot of sitting. But then I decided, yeah, once I got on, this weight loss journey, I was like, okay, Kim, you got to get it done. You got to get to moving your body. It's so important to move. So that's why I just jumped on it. And then plus it helps me, with lower my A1C. That's another way to help with it, as well as, of course, losing weight. So, and just my, heart health, of course, it helps with this. Walking helps with so much, so much. So I decided to go ahead and start doing that. So, yep, I'm happy that I'm, kicking butt and taking names when it comes to, the walking and the movement. Oh, okay, you missed 2 days. And that's understandable. To be honest, for me, I actually, like last Friday, I did not get a chance to do the quote unquote, quote unquote, 30-minute on the treadmill, but I went to Walmart and I was moving around. It was a Walmart that I've never been to, a neighborhood Walmart, which is, I don't have a neighborhood Walmart by me. So I was moving around and things in there for a good 30 minutes, back and forth. Oh, I forgot this. Oh, let me go on this aisle. Where is it at? Is it on this aisle? So back and forth there. So what I did was, because I still wanted to get that walk in. So once I got home, because I had to do some things, throughout the day. So once I actually got home um, from everything that I had to do, I still got on the treadmill, and it was a little after 12, going into, after 12 to the next day, but I still got it done. So I still, made sure I made up for that time, because the way I look at it is, even it's like an average of, have you done your whole 30 minutes, for 30 days, but an average of. So what I did was, okay, so that was really kind of considered Saturday. So I did two on Saturday. One, like I said, wee hours in the morning, and then one later on Saturday evening. So that kind of broke it up. So that's how I did mine. And then it was another day I had to do the same thing. So yeah. Because of course, you got a lot going on. Sometimes, we're real busy. So with life, and so we have to, try to I still try to get it in. No excuses for me. Yep, yep, yep. Hello. Hello, Felicia. How are you? Hope you're doing well today. So everybody's saying hey to each other. No, 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 not since 7:45. I just decided to do it 8 o'clock instead of 7:45 today. Um, I think my time. I'm still trying to see, do I want 7:45 or 8? Because yeah, but yeah, I didn't. It was at 8 o'clock when I clicked on the live right at 8 o'clock on the dots. Oh boy, yeah, I'm just going talking about, lowering my cholesterol and all that, and didn't even realize that I wasn't on live. Yes. Until Mel, she texted me, it was like, hey. And I'm like, oh, oops, let me look at this. So when I look back up, to in the corner, I was like, okay, well, I see people in the chat. And then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So then I clicked the little button again, and I'm like, okay, now it says it says that it actually went live. So yeah, I didn't realize I wasn't on it. Funny. Hey, Tamika, how are you doing today? Hey, Darium, how are you? Yes, thank you. Hit the like button, y'all. I greatly appreciate it. Yes, yes. Good evening. How are you? The health hustlers. All right. Yes, Darium's in the house. Thanks, Darium, for coming in. Right. Yes, Mel, how are you feeling? Are you feeling better? Getting better? Darium is asking. Hello, Miss Linda. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay, you listening and working. All right. Thanks for listening. Look, thanks for just being here in general. I greatly appreciate y'all. Okay, so Mel says she's hanging in there. Okay, about to take her meds. Forgot. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Those they work well. Paxlovid works good. I had to take it one time. It shortens all the symptoms and just the whole thing. Helps you get better faster. Okay, so this there said that's good. I hope you feel better soonest. Right. We need that Paxlovid to knock out that COVID. Exactly. It does wonders. All right. So Tamika says, you see where you. Oh, my bad. So many rules. Yep. We just hoping everybody okay. Okay. Whoever is having issues. All right. Praying for you. Yep. Praying for you, Mel, to get well soon. That's so true. I hope you start to feel better soon. Yes. Surprised I didn't get. Yeah. So everybody is wishing you well, Mel, and that you get better soon. Well, thank you, Tamika. We appreciate it. Hello, Trace of Twine's Life. How are you doing? You must have a lot going on. Yes. Oh boy. Yep. The party can't get started right. Let's get this party started right. Let's get this party started quickly. Yes. Yes, it is. Definitely. Definitely just terribly sick at any time. But yeah, you trying to get this summertime, fun in, and yeah, nobody ain't got time for no sickness. She'll be better with the quickness. She will be better. That's our prayer. All right, guys. So how are y'all? Are y'all doing well today? Hope y'all are doing well. And was anybody in here? Were y'all doing a June challenge? And you were successful with it. Let us know. Let us know. I know, Twine, you were reading. Oh, this might be your last day for the right. I think it was your last day for doing the challenge for the comparison detox challenge. How did that go for you? And then I'll get into this topic here. Okay, she is Tamika. You're doing well. Wonderful. In the bed. I know that's right. Yeah, I know it's about your bedtime, right? All right. Okay, it went well. Good. Great, great, great. Twine. Okay, great. Great, Tamika. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Y'all show them some love that they were able to get through their June challenge successfully. Hello, Bellflower. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right. So tonight, what I want to talk a little bit about is okay. So when we started our journey, right, this GLP-1 journey. Oh, let me see. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold up. Let me wait a minute. So, how did I do on my challenges? I did very well. I did my 30 for 30 the movement challenge. I did from June 1st to June 30th. I was able to successfully complete it 30 minutes a day for 30 days. So I did very, very well. That was my main thing, as well as just making sure I keep, getting movement in. The walking helps with cardio. It's just a lot of things. Walking helps, um, help mental with your mental and everything as well. So good to get your, be able to get your walk on, even if you don't do some of the other things, right away. It's good to at least start walking to get your movement in. Helps keep your joints moving well and things of that nature as well. So yeah, so I got that done. As far as the cholesterol is concerned, I will, I'm trying to lower my I'm trying to lower my LDL and raise the HDL some more. It's kind of going back and forth here and there, up and down when it comes to that. And so I'm trying to, better control that as well. And I have been, like, for instance, I eat eggs. I was eating eggs every day. And for me, before the journey, I was not, but I knew it was a good source of protein, right? So I started eating those. And I eat two a day, not a lot. And I eat the real egg, a whole egg, a boiled egg. And because I'm not really into the scrambled eggs, and I like quiche, um, but it was just easier to just make the eggs. I do like omelets, but the omelets and the quiche, they have to have like some substance. They have to have something with it. So they have to have protein with it as well as veggies with it for me to really like it. So like for my omelet, it would have to have like different meats in it, or it could be one meat, but it needs to be a bit of it, and then the onion and bell pepper, mushroom, that would be great. Or spinach, things like that. So, yeah. So, but that of course takes a little bit more time. So it's quick and easy to go ahead and just grab two and do two boiled eggs and keep it moving, right? Because even if I do get the omelet, I'm not gonna want a lot of egg, you know. So I decided to kind of cut back on the eggs every day because eggs do have a lot of cholesterol in it, and while some people can eat 5, 6 eggs and be okay, that might be an issue for me. So I decided to kind of cut back the eggs in June. And so I was able to do that and then just replace it with something else, like, just because I don't eat breakfast. I normally eat, I'm sorry, I don't eat at breakfast time. I eat breakfast at lunch. So, you know, I'm like, I really don't have to do that. It's lunchtime, so I really don't have to eat eggs. So I'll find something else to eat, just to still make sure I'm getting my protein in, right? Protein, 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 right? High protein. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing, kind of just cutting back on the eggs. And also with I will eat a sausage patty. It's actually the Great Value brand. So it kind of reminds you of the sausage patties that McDonald's have serve in the morning. But yeah, I kind of cut back on that too because it has a lot of saturated fat in it, way more than I probably need. So I was eating the 2 eggs, and and one. First, I started eating like 2 patties, but then I was like, no, let me cut back because it is a lot of cholesterol. So let me cut back to the one. But I just felt like, if I'm trying to get rid of some of that cholesterol, yeah, let me go on down on you know, let me get rid of some of that, doing it daily. So yeah, I still eat my pork bacon, but it doesn't have as near about as much saturated fat as that sausage patty did. So yeah, I kind of got rid of that stuff. And then I'm also taking an omega-3 every day, so that can help with cholesterol. So yeah, and of course, I do my flaxseed. I got to get my flaxseed in. So I wish I was a little taller, man. I'm like, I need to sit way up here. My body, look, my face like this. All right. So, and it's Lucy. I guess I'm late. I'm just noticed Nancy pick. All right now. Yes, yes, yes. It's a nice. Yeah, his pictures looks really nice. All right. Yes, yes. Yep. Thank you. Thank y'all for sharing the love and congratulating everybody on their June challenges. Yes, yes. All right. So I was telling Hadrine a little earlier, like it was a couple days that I wasn't able to do, like said 30 minutes on the walking pad or the treadmill. Um, you know, like earlier in the daytime. So I may have started like later in the evening and it went over to, past 12 a.m. But I still made sure I got the 30 minutes in. So like, and then on like last Friday, I had to actually, I did some walking, because I had to do some, go to some stores and things like that. So I still got 30 minutes of walking in, but I want to kind of still get it on record. So I decided that, I'm going to still do it. So I wound up having to do it Saturday morning and then like early in the morning, which is kind of like right after midnight. And then I did the other one, for Saturday, actually on Saturday, like later on in the evening. So I still was able to get that in to make sure I get both of them in. So, even if you are doing a challenge and you may not be able to get it in for whatever reason, because, like I said, things go on. So sometimes you may not be able to get it done. Then you can always, make up. I mean, I give myself grace. I made up for it, even though I did actually consider walking, but I want to get a specific type walk in. So I made sure I did that too. Yes, boiled egg. And I love double eggs. I love boiled and double eggs. Yep. All right. Hello, Unglamorous Glow. How you doing? Unglamorous Glow. Yes. Outside. Okay. Out walking and listening. All right. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're doing well. Scrambled, please. With some egg whites. Yeah. I wish I liked scrambled. I can make scrambled eggs, but I just don't eat them. I make them for the family though. No, I have not had egg whites. I thought about buying some though. I did because I know they have less. I think they have less cholesterol, right? Because it's probably more in the yolk than the egg whites, than the white part. Yeah. Hi, Jojo. How are you doing? What's the best way to avoid GLP-1 constipation? So I am learning to eat more fiber. More fiber is helping me be able to be more, regular. Like before this journey, I was regular. Then once I started the journey, I was fine for a while. And then as I increased my dose, then constipation kind of started coming on. And so what I decided to do, I started to, make sure I'm drinking a lot of water. Okay, definitely more than your 64 ounces. But like you speak to your doctor, find out, what's best for you because everybody water intake or liquid intake is different. So definitely make sure you find out how much water you should be drinking. But water is very important. You definitely need to get those 64 in, but more than like you may need more, right? But definitely get your water in. Hydration is very important so that things can move properly. Also, because that's a side effect to the GLP-1, right? Medication. So, unfortunately, so water in. Also, I've tried sour salt bitters, and that helps also with constipation. It helped me. I ran out and I didn't buy anymore, so that's why I hadn't talked about it anymore on the channel. But yeah, but I was able to also magnesium is very good for constipation, making sure you get more magnesium in. And I am taking a magnesium supplement also. It's not Mago 7. I know some people use Mago 7. That's really, really good, especially, people with GLP-1 community is using it. Also, I hear people, that may have had this weight loss surgery. They're told to use it, encouraged to use it. Atlanta is good for constipation. Yeah, so those things. Also, There's a fruits, dragon fruits is good. Just getting fruit in general helps, because it gives you a lot of fiber, right? So increase, but I learned that increasing that fiber, honey, definitely is really, really good for us. So the recommended dose of for us ladies to get to of fiber per day is the 25 milligrams, 25 grams of fiber. And because if you're on a GLP-1 medication, you may need more. Or if as you get older, we age, we may need more. So that is also, good to increase the fiber. Now, of course, your doctor, your nutritionist, your dietitian, they have to tell you how much you need. I've spoke to my dietitian a couple weeks ago and talked to her about it and asked her, what does she think when it comes to constipation? And she did tell me that for me, try to do 35, and we can go from there. So, and that has helped me a lot. But nowadays and I could do more, but definitely try to get the 35 in. And so that's been helping me tremendously. So the other, like the sour salt bitter and things like that, I didn't have to actually do. Or like sometimes, like you can get is it colace? That's another thing that helps with constipation as well. So that but I don't use actually colace. It's the Equate brand, which is from Walmart, but it's like colace, and it has a little center in it as well. But yeah, I was using that at one point too, but I haven't really had to use that as much anymore because I've been increasing my fiber and my water and things of that nature. So I've been doing it a little bit more naturally. So, and it's hard to find for some reason. For me, it's hard to find the yellow dragon fruit. That's the one that tastes a little bit better. So yeah, those are the things you can do. What about benefiber? Yes, I do benefiber almost every single day. I use benefiber as well, but benefiber has soluble fiber. Um, but my dietitian was telling me, and she's a nutrition and dietitian. So if you hear me say nutrition, she's one and the same. So she actually stated that with the benefiber, because it does have soluble fiber, that is good, but you also want to make sure you have your insoluble fiber as well. So make sure kind of balance it out. But yes, I do. I take benefiber daily, and that's also a help for me. Kim J has a video on a soursop bitter for you to view later. Yes, she gives a tutorial. Yes, quite. Yeah, because soursop bitters, and I think it depends on which one you have and that you take. I remember Unglamorous Glow. She has a channel, YouTube channel, and she's on a better health journey. She took soursop bitters, and her mother-in-law, and they had me cracking up about taking it. But yeah, I was taking it too. Didn't know she had tried to start taking it as well. But it's a liquid that I take, and when I did use it, I need to get some more because I think it's good for a lot of different benefits for that as well. But since I started buying some other things, I'm like, I need to kind of still watch my money too. Okay, of course. So, but yeah, one thing you can do, like if you don't like the taste of it, try to chug a lug it. Do it like you do a shot. All right. In a recent video, she added some benefiber to her profit. Yes. Thank you, Darium. Yep, my protein coffee. Love it, love it. All right. So the Mel B say, yep, agree with the fiber, Kim J. Yep. And as I talked to men, I was trying to I don't know what is that doctors, I think. Yeah, I don't know the acronym, what the acronyms mean, but I know I talked to Mel about fiber too and increasing fiber. She's an advocate about that, and her doctor has told her to eat, or get 45 grams of fiber. So that with her definitely being on GLP-1 and things of that nature, because of course our bodies are already being, it's, our digestion is slower now. So with that being said, it's better to get a little bit more fiber in than just the recommended dose, that they say of 25. And so, me and her have talked about it several times or whatever. So that's why I actually talked to my dietitian about it when I had my last appointment with her, because I know Mel, was encouraging me about it. So I was like, yeah, let me check, with her. And yes, so Mel says, oops, my doctor said 45 due to the GLP-1 seems to work, as I've not had any problems with constipation. Awesome, awesome, Mel. So, when I told my doctor, I said, well, I have a friend that takes 45 milligrams. Her doctor told her to take 45. And she said, well, I don't know. I've never seen in the books or whatever, to do 45. She said, but definitely, you can up your fiber, but make sure you're taking soluble as well as insoluble. And, it should all help you. So that's when she just told me to do 35. So yes. All right. So, and Glamorous Glow says, yeah, I need to watch your video because I can't be taking it right. Yes. Oh boy. Yeah. So you still taking it, Unglamorous Glow? All right. So Tamika said, get it, Glow. Right. She's doing her thing over there. Okay. Yep. 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 Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Tamika says, I'm not chugging nothing that doesn't get me tipsy. Oh boy. It'll get you right though. Hey, it's a different kind of right, but it'll get you right. Oh, okay. No, man. Okay. Okay. I'm just thinking about you. I'm over here laughing because I'm thinking about you in that video, honey. You had me cracking up. Had me cracking up. So yeah, so that's how you do that, Jojo. So hopefully, if you decide to try one of the things that we have, suggested that it helped us rather, then by all means, hopefully it'll help you. Of course, I'm not a doctor, but I can share with you what my doctor has told me, or my, like I said, dietitian. All right, so family. And I call y'all my family, even though not by blood, but yes, my YouTube family, GLP-1 family. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the motivation, and so I know like when we first started the GLP-1, if you started GLP-1, we were probably a little scared. Some of us, a lot of us probably were kind of scared because of the needle, because of the injection and everything, not knowing how it was going to be, what you were going to feel, things of that nature. Is it going to hurt or not hurt? How many side effects am I have? Or am I going to have any side effects? Is it going to help me lose weight? Which is because it is a tool that can help you lose weight. It definitely helps with a lot of different ailments or diseases, whatever, first and foremost, but it also can help, it's a tool to help you lose weight. So with that being said, I know a lot of people, was just kind of a little skeptical about it. Some people are still on the fence. Should I take it? Should I not take it? Whatever. So I know that little, fear was there. But then some people, they're like, oh, no, I'm getting into this, because I believe what it's going to do for me. I think it's going to do well. It's done well for a lot of other people. And so I'm going to test it. I'm going to see what it's going, see what it's going to do. So you get that excitement, so some people were, even though they may be scared, they were very excited about it as well, because they can see themselves, in the future, being healthier, being smaller, and things of that nature. So that means you were motivated, something motivated you. So do you all, for you, what motivated some of you when it came down to being on your weight loss journey or on your GLP-1, when you initially started? is what I want to ask. And for me, um, well, let me jump in the chat real quick and just say, hold on. So Mia says, unglamorous glow, you put in some work every single day in your videos. I wish I had your drive, girl. That's right. That's true. That's true. She's been doing the darn thing. Most definitely. Especially her workouts, girl. Ooh, girl. I baby sweating all over the place. I'm like, ooh. And you doing them lunges, honey. I'm like, goes. All right. So she has to me say, if I work out with her, I'll pass out. I'm telling you, honey, she's like a beast in that gym. She is a beast in that gym. Yes. So, so yeah, what if y'all were y'all scared when y'all started taking your the medication? And if you were, what actually made you say, okay, let me just go ahead on and just do it. Let me go ahead and give that first injection. Because of course we were uncertain on what it would do to us, right? We were very uncertain. So I understand the fear, at the beginning of it. If you're not used to giving yourself, a shot, that's understandable. Some people, even when they get the doctors give them a shot, they have they're very scared. So yeah, I do understand that. So I know we probably all can relate to the feeling, even if it wasn't us that actually had the nervousness and just the excitement and nervousness together, right? So Bellflower says, I was definitely motivated by better health, Kim. Yes. Yes. Better health was my motivation as well. Um, Felicia says, seeing my dad lose so much weight on Manjaro really motivated me and showed me it worked. All right. So you had a personal uh, witness or a personal experience from your father. All right. So Mia said, "What motivation? What I'm sorry. What motivated me was hope. Seeing the creators who had successfully been doing their journey and seeing their results kept me going. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. GLP-1 community is the best community. I do believe that too, Mia. I do believe so. Yes. So Felicia is agreeing as well. Bellflower says, if I knew then what I know now, I would have taken my doctor up on Ozempic back in 2018 and 2019. Yes. And I was looking back at like some because I'm trying to, I when I'm videoing everything on my phone right now. And when I bought this phone, I only had 64 gigs. So of storage or whatever. So then I wound up having to buy a USB. And so when I did that, then I had to try to figure out how to use it and all that, whatever. But I kept losing losing storage or, filling up my storage. And so I was like, okay, now how can I put these videos out? I mean, I don't have no storage, like every 2 seconds. Cause when I remove some of the pictures and things of that of my past, then emails start flooding in. And so I'm like, oh, I just tried to, get some more storage for videos, and here's the emails taking up my storage. So yeah, it was a hot mess for a while. So I learned how to use the USB. So I've been kind of just trying to work through that and try to, push some things over to USB that I don't want to get rid of and things like that. So, but I found a picture that like a screenshot that I took. I was looking at Dr. Oz back in the day, and I saw them talk about semaglutide. And I'm like, oh wow. So I knew of this, a long time ago. Didn't even realize it, Um, and at that point, I don't know if I was like, I wasn't diabetic then because I didn't become diabetic until, well, let me say it like Patrice. I like the way Patrice Denise said it in her video. Um, I didn't get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes until last year. So I probably wouldn't have thought about even taking it then, but I used to love Dr. Oz and listening to him and trying to, just understand, things or whatever. So, when it comes to health or whatever. So yeah, that was like a daily pleasure of mine to look at his show. But yeah. So, but back in 2020, I think it's 2020, I found out I was pre-diabetic. And she asked me, did I want to get on medication or do I want to, go and, try to do it on my own, the natural way, right? And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Because, at that point, I don't know if she was gonna try to get me on, something, a GLP-1 at the time or what. She didn't say what kind of medication I could take. So I didn't, I opted for the natural way of just trying to eat better and or go on a diet, um and to lose the weight and to exercise. And I did for a little bit and then I didn't. I did until I didn't. So yeah, and then it just, I guess after those 4 years, then last year I was diagnosed with type 2. So I feel you on that, Bellflower. I wish I knew better then. All right. So Tamika said I was scared and didn't think I would lose all my weight, but did. It was the best decision I ever made. And I feel the same way, Tamika. I am so happy that that I actually asked my doctor if I can, get on Manjaro. I'm so happy I did. Yeah. One of the best decisions ever. Yes. Because I told you in one other video they was gonna put me on metformin, and I'm like, nope. I have kidney disease. I don't need to go on that. It's not, it don't help. It can be a issue for people with kidney disease. So yeah, if you read up on it. So I read up on it. I'm like, nope. And I knew people that had taken it and they were having issues with it. So I was like, yeah, I don't want that. So I was like, can I do Manjaro? Yeah, because I knew it did both things. It can help me with the A1C. Also, it can help me may help me lose some weight. So I opted for that. Asked her, and she said, "Yes, you can." I'm like, "Praise God." All right. Yes, you want to live, Twine? Exactly. Yes, yes. Most important. One, gotta live, gotta live. All right, Mia says definitely got discouraged after about a month and going to the doctor and seeing I lost 20 pounds was what kept me back in my head to keep going because I was missing the comfort of those foods I used to eat. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, yes, yes. Right. Because I think, you're having to, because, you were eating with us eating foods that we were used to eating, we made it habitual to eat those foods, that may not have been as good for me. See, I'm too short. And, so with that being said, I understand where you're coming from, Mia. I do understand where you're coming from. We were used to eating those foods. They made us, they gave us comfort and things of that nature, but was it the right foods? Maybe not. Probably not. At least for me, it was not. A lot of those foods were not the right foods. Some of them were. I wasn't, eating all junk and processed and things like that, but a lot of times I was a little bit more than I needed to. So yeah, I do understand that. And losing the 20 pounds, yes, losing the weight definitely helps keep you motivated. All right, so Tracy Twan's life says, I wish my doctor had told me about Wegovy instead of pushing surgery everywhere. I remember you saying that every visit. Yes, I remember you saying that, Twan, before. Um, yeah, and there's some doctors that still not really, suggesting the GLP-1s. They suggest surgery versus GLP. I don't know why, what's why some do and some don't. A lot of people just don't know, still don't know about the medication, haven't sat down and actually researched, you know, did their research when it comes to the medication. So, yeah, that could be why. Mia says was very hard at the beginning of her journey. Okay. So you're doing better now, Mia? All right. So I told her, Mia says, I totally agree, Twine. Doc pushing surgery continuously and not trying to see if I could get the medication way back then. Yes. But like I said, I think people just, they didn't know enough about it. My doctor was always pushing surgery. Yeah. And then I think, because, surgery, you drop quick, a lot of times when people have the surgery, you know, like say if they're diabetic, and then, once they have have surgery, then they may not have to take medications, because because they lose so much weight. So sometimes that happens. But yeah, I mean, that's just one option of, trying to get your health back, right? Regaining health. Um, but again, I think a lot of doctors just not trying to figure it out. And it's out there for them to figure out, but, and it's so much science, research and things going, and as well as not just the research, but proven results that these GLP-1s are doing very, very well. So hopefully more people, will doctors will consider it, to be able to help, because everybody don't want to have surgery. Everybody don't want to have surgery. I remember someone asked me about, surgery, not my doctors, but they were about to get surgery, somebody I know, and have the surgery, and they were like, you want to come with me and do it or whatever, because they knew I wanted to lose weight and everything, and I was like, nah, because I've had surgery before in the past, and I'm like, I think I've had enough. And if I if I don't have to have it anymore, I don't want to have surgery if I don't have to. So yeah, I was like, I'll just wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see, whatever. I'm gonna try to do it, a different way. And now today, even though I hate the fact, I wish I did not, I wish I was not diagnosed with type 2, but I want to look at it, looking at it as the glass half full. It has helped me tremendously. You know, when it comes to better health, as well as, just losing weight, as well as, just the whole nine, getting my body moving. I'm more dedicated now, more determined now. And this diagnosis, the last diagnosis I got, was the one that said, okay, Kim, this is your season. This is your time to get it right. And I've been running on to see what this end gonna be. And I've been doing my doggone thing, y'all. All right, Kim is not right, not a doctor, not giving medical advice, just letting you know what I got going on. And it's up to you if you want to share it with your doctor or whatever and find out if it will be good for you, or it's your choice, because that's your journey. This is my journey. All right, so Mia says, I had, let me see, mentioned this new diabetes medication is what you need to get on, but I didn't know enough either to fight to get it. Yes, understandably. Yeah, so as you learn, of course, what knowledge is power, right? And that's the thing, just learning, like before we start saying, oh, it's not right, it's not right, it's not this, it's not that, and talking it down against it. Research is very, very important to do, so that you'll know what's going on. And I think some people, as they keep hearing about it, as scientists and doctors and all the medical field and everybody, they're finding out that this medication is really, really good. A GLP-1 medication is good for a lot of different things. They are prescribing to more people, and more people are wanting to, they're changing their minds once they find out what's going on, and how it's helping so many people get better, helping to heal people. So Darren says, I'm so glad that people are finding hope, help, and healing along this journey. I know it's not easy, not always great, and a lot of hard work and sacrifice. So true. So true. It's not something that, oh, let me take the medication and just let it do what it do. Again, we talked about last week, it's not the easy way out. It's not, you're not, taking the easy road, or you're not what I want to say, um cheating, or and things of that nature. You're not doing that. You still need to do the work, because even if it does help you lose, if you're trying to lose weight, even if it does help you lose, even if it does help you when it comes to, say for instance, getting your A1C down a little bit more, without you doing anything, at some point you got to say, you know what, you're gonna find out you know that you're going to have to do something more, because after a while it's going to slow down, or it's going to stop, doing the thing. So it's best to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon first quarter, as the kids say, and go ahead and do the things you need to do. Let this medicine be a help for you, a tool for you, but you want to still do the things you need to do, you know, as a, as a human being. You want to do what you need to do, for is eating better, moving your body, and when I say move your body, I'm talking about, some kind of exercise, walking, because you can start out walking. So a lot of people never walk, much before. So you start off without walking. You can start off with walking, and then start doing some aerobic exercise. When you start feeling a little bit better, then you start doing some strength training. You can start like that, or you can go up, come out the back, come right out the gate, doing all of it, whatever you feel comfortable with. But it's so important to make sure you're changing that, your habits, to making sure you're improving, upon what you're doing, so you can be most successful on this journey. I don't want to just be mediocre. I don't want to just be, okay, I'm just doing it. And yes, doing it's the thing. I want to actually make sure I'm doing everything I possibly can, or working towards it at least, so that I can maximize, you know, what this medication can really do help me do for myself, right? Kim is a loving content creator. Yeah, thank you, Mia. Just sharing what has worked for her and doesn't give medical advice. Right. Exactly. Yes, yes. All right, so Mia says she has come so far from sitting quietly during Twine's self-love live to doing the darn thing, running her own live. Right. Thank you, Mia. Yep. All right, so Bellflower says, right, it's definitely not a one size fit all medical decision. Surgery don't work for everyone. And that's so true, Bellflower. I've heard people say, yeah, I did the surgery, I got the surgery done, and it only helped a little bit, just like with this medication. Sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, GLP-1s don't work for everyone, correct. All right, but people make the best choices for them and pray for the best. That's so true. So, I've said, several times now that, off out the gate, I pray to God about it, and I ask God to help me with this journey, and make sure, so that I can make sure I'm, doing what I need to do. And I do believe that He's answered my prayers, because, you know, I don't regret one bit, how this journey has, this journey has been going. Not one bit. Even with side effects, I have side effects too, but even with that, I don't regret it. So I'm happy I did make that decision for myself and everyone out there. You have to make this decision on your own. You need to do your research and make sure that you are, you know, ready and ready for the medication if you decide that you want to use it. And like I said, do all the things you can do so that you can maximize, you know, what maximize on the benefits of the journey. And you want to take it, the first thing you need to be in your to me in your mind is, I would suggest that you say, okay, I want to get healthier. That's number one. I want to be healthy. And so what do I need to do health to get healthy? So taking the medication that helps you get can help you get healthy. However, you, like I said, you do have to do what you got to do to make sure that you're maximizing every avenue to get to that point of living longer. Like Twan has said, she wants to live longer. You have to make sure you're doing everything you can so that you can live long, can be vibrant, you know, um, and just be able to move more, just be able to do things, and you'll start feeling, better and better within. So it's, to me, mind, body, and soul, or spirit. Mind, body, and spirit. It's all of it, So you want to be healthy in every aspect of your life. And this medication, again, is a tool for that, if you do it how you're supposed to do it. All right. So JoJo says, how does keto GLP-1? I don't know what that is. Sounds. I don't know what that C word is. I don't know anything about it. Sorry. Um, Low carb protein shake, benefiber. Um, yeah, again, Jojo, that's up to you. Again, I'm not your doctor. I think if you go to your dietitian or nutritionist, or if you don't have one, I think it would be best to get one, because they definitely can help. My dietitian has helped me a lot. Dietitian, nutritionist, somebody, or your doctors, if you got a good doctor that can talk to you about it, how to eat, what's the best way for you, because I don't know, I don't know what your blood work looks like. I don't know any of that. So that's why, with me not being a doctor or your doctor, I wouldn't know for sure. But I've tried keto before. I think keto works well for some people, just like this GLP-1 works well for people. Not everybody, um, but keto does work well for some people, but it's sometimes, a lot of times, it's not sustainable. So with that being said, you have to know your body, how you are. So you'll have to make that decision on your own. But people have done keto and GLP-1. Yes, yes. And definitely, now for me, I'm on a high protein, low carb, high fiber diet or regimen, right? I'm on that right now. So I know for sure, for me, that works for me. The low carb, lower to moderate carb now, definitely, um, is helping me. It helped me lower my A1C. Um, the high protein is helping me with, keeping some of my muscle mass, helping my bones be strong. Um, I do drink a protein shake. At least I drink one a day. I don't drink a lot. And I've talked to my dietitian about it, and she said that's fine for me to drink the one a day. Um, so I do that, and then again I drink benefiber. I put benefiber in my protein shake, so that all is helping me, because of course the benefiber is helping with fiber. So you got your protein shake that gives you protein, you got your low carbs that kind of helps keep those blood sugars, from elevating too much, and then you have your benefiber, that's your fiber. So I do feel, for me, protein, high protein, and I'm going to eat meat. Okay, so that's me. There are some people that are vegan that's on a GLP-1, and they're doing fine. Doing very good. They lost weight. They've, you know, their A1Cs are good. Their blood work looks good. So, or even better. So yeah. So you have to figure out which regimen is best for you. You have to know yourself, for keto, for me, I can't do that long term. Because I want to enjoy carbs, and keto is very, very, very restrictive when it comes to carbs. You can only, well, the keto I know is 20 carbs, 20 net carbs a day, right? And you got lazy keto, you got the regular keto, clean keto, it's all kinds of ketos, hyperketosis, you know, regimen and things of that nature. But and they all kind of a little different. But yeah, I think depending on which keto you want to do, you know, it may help you. So I say, like I said, think about it, do your research on it, talk to your dietitian or your doctor or both, and see which one helps you best. All right. So Mia says, I think a lot of it is what you put into it. Right. If you do the tracking and do the best choices of foods, eat high protein, high fiber, low sugar, added sugar, diet or regimen, I believe you will be successful. And that I think so too. And the reason why I say that is because I know I have been successful that way, in that way. Um, Again, tracking, I do. I don't, and I'm not a person that tracks every single thing every single day, but I do track. And I do think tracking is very, very important. Um, I really do think that's very important, especially when you first start. It definitely can help you. Know how you're eating, if you're eating the right. Oh, one thing too, a calorie deficit. A calorie deficit helps you lose weight. Being in a calorie deficit, and you can go on the TDEE calculator, um, and see what the your numbers are. That may help as well, Jojo, and whoever else out here is thinking about these same things. But yeah, I think tracking is very important. Even if you don't track, but protein at first, start tracking maybe the protein, or like say if you're a diabetic, you know, track maybe your protein and your carbs, you know, and that will help you, especially like if say if you are, you type 2 and you're used to having your sugars up, they're always elevated and you're trying to get them down. Well, knowing how many carbs you're eating is important so that so you'll know, okay, do I need to tweak some more? It helps you learn to know if you need to tweak or not, if you're doing well or not. How would you know if you're not tracking? It's a little harder to figure that out if you're not tracking. So I think, there are a lot of tracking apps out there that are free or you can pay for them. It's up to you. But yeah, I think tracking is very important. I have a tracker. I actually pay for a tracker app, and it helps me out a lot. Another thing it helps me with tracking is when it comes to um, knowing if I'm eating enough calories. Because there are people out there, it's hard to eat, he eats, period. And so it helps me make sure I'm, within a certain range and making sure I'm eating enough calories. Because if you're not eating enough calories, a lot of times, that can hurt your weight loss as well if you're trying to lose weight. So yeah. Body weight exercise. Oh, okay, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Jojo, for helping me understand that. All right. Yes, push-ups. I don't know the words to them a lot of times. I just say strength training or resistance training or whatever. Yeah. But push-ups definitely help. I think when it comes to, just help with the exercise portion um, of getting healthier. It does. Helps a whole lot. And it helps, just with building. It helps with building the muscle and building the strength up and things of that nature as well. It can help with your core, help you, with your, making your core healthier as well, your stomach area and all. Yeah. All right. So Mill says the best measure of success, I think, is if they took the medication away today, would we have great new habits in place to continue to live a healthy lifestyle, or just rely on not being as hungry? Good question. Yes, that's exactly why it's so important, Mia. for us to make sure we're doing all the things necessary, not just taking the medication. Yep. That's a great point. Thank you for that, Mia. All right. Because yeah, you really don't know. Like I know some people as of July 1st, you know, they had to maybe depending on what um pharmacy they have and what insurance they have and all that. Um, you know, they may have had to switch from one GLP-1 to another GLP-1, or for some reason, you know, at some point your insurance company say, I'm not covering it, you know, for weight loss. So then, you know, what those people, you know, what can those people rely on if all they're relying on is a medication? Will they go back to, you know, just eating, you know, in an unhealthy way if they were eating unhealthy, you know, and things like that. So if you build the healthy habits, you know, then, you know, it will help you even more if you, for some reason, have to get off the medications or they're not available. You know, at one point it was a shortage in the medications. So yeah, what would you do if you can't, you know, get your medication for a month? You know, are you gonna, you know, have these healthy habits built? You know, eating better nutrition, you know, movement, exercises, strength training, aerobics, walking. You know, is it already built in your everyday, you know, routine? Because if it's not, then you may go right back to where you were trying to, you know, come from. All right. So Jojo said, try keto, lost weight, but extremely difficult to sustain. You're 100% right. Notice with GLP-1 is a bit easier to sustain. Okay. Yes. I get that. And yes, when I was on keto, mm-mm. I wanted my Coca Colas too. I love Coca Colas, right? And yeah, I miss those things. And while I'm really big with meat, and I mean but I like carbs too, you know. And it's just to say, oh, you know, on the keto that I was following, like I said, you can only do the 20 net carbs a day. Yeah, that wasn't enough for me, y'all. So yeah, it was extremely difficult for me to stay on it. Okay, so and then also why take out the carbs? You know, for me, I'm like, I want some carbs. I want to enjoy some carbs. Why not? You know? Um, so yeah, so I'd rather just do a low to moderate carb diet. That way I still can control my sugars, you know, my blood glucose and my A1C. But you know, so I get kind of benefits of both. I can get best of both worlds. So that's how you know I choose to do my you know my nutrition. All right, so making a GLP-1 work for us and working our personal program we have set up with our new normal. Correct. Yes. And as we do it, it becomes a new normal, right? As we do it. Sometimes it may seem hard at first to get, you know, like change your eating habits. Um, like you were, you know, mentioning earlier, Mia, it kind of felt, you know, it kind of made you feel a little weird about it. But, you know, as you keep doing it, as you see that weight going down, if that's what your goal is to lose some weight, you know, it gives you that motivation, you know, to keep going. And then habits, you know, like I said, the more you do it, what they say, it takes 21 days to build a new habit. You know, the more you do it, you know, the better you kind of start enjoying it. Okay, yes, look at me doing this thing, you know. Yes, thank you, Mia. Show Miss Kim some love. Give a thumb up alive. Yes, thumb up alive. I agree, Mia. I agree, Mia. Darium says these meds help with metabolic deregulation so that your health habits will have positive impacts on your body. Correct. Not a doctor. Hashtag my humble opinion. And it is, I feel like it's true, Darium. And the way I can say that is because I'm living it, right? So for me, it's definitely true. All right. So Darren says, I agree with you, Kim J. I think tracking food along with tracking the glucose levels is essential for the determining if for determining if these medications are helping. Correct, correct. That's so true. All right, so Mia says, yes, yes, Jeriam. It's like taking an allergy pill. Once you have it in your system, you can focus on other things because you aren't sneezing and having itchy eyes or whatever. Correct. GLP-1 helps us focus on next best choices. So true, so true. I agree. I agree. So now, one more thing. So when it comes to motivation, all right. So of course we were scared at first, but we were kind of excited at the same time. We had it was some uncertainty, but we were a little motivated because we may have seen some people, that have had success with it. So yeah, we kind of pumped up now. Okay. So after that first shot, boom, the injection, you know, now it's like, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as we think, as I thought it was, right? So now you're starting this journey, and um, you find out you either lost a little bit of weight, or you may have, even if you didn't lose weight, maybe you know, felt a little bit better, like felt a little bit more energized, or and things of that nature. So now you're a little motivated. Motivation is on 10, right? And so then as you keep going, because you're feeling good, so you're going, you're moving, right? You're excited about the journey. You're posting things, you're sharing things with people, you got a Kool-Aid smile on your face, right? Um, but then for some reason, you know, the motivation kind of starts fading after a while, because maybe something is starts kind of not, your weight not going, the scale not going down as much, you know. um Maybe for some reason when you check your, did your blood work, for some reason, the A1C didn't go down as much as you hoped it did, things of that nature. Now we're getting deeper, right? um and so now it can kind of make you kind of feel down a little bit. And so now, the motivation is kind of fading. That spark is kind of, coming down. You're coming off your high of, oh, yay, the motivation high, right? All right. And so now things are getting real, right? So while motivation was very, very good in the beginning, you need something else to keep you pushing at this point. You need something else. And so now we need to think about the discipline of it all. Discipline, excuse me. The discipline of making the choices when you don't feel like you don't feel like you were feeling. You don't feel motivated. So, with that being said, you won't always feel motivated, right, on this journey, as you all probably already know. But for the new people, they may not, realize it at this point. Or some people, may still be motivated just by because the scale is going down. But at some point, you may get to the point where motivation is not enough. Now you need to you need that discipline, right? You need that discipline to be able to help keep you going. Because even like for those who may have been on a stall, like in a stall, or in, maybe on a plateau, or the weight is coming off much, much slower, because they may have been in it for a while. They were going real great, weight was coming off left and right, you know, or all the time, even if it wasn't, like very, very fast, it could have just been very steady though. But now for some reason you don't hit this little curveball. So a curveball done came, and now you're not losing anymore. Or like I said, your blood work is not showing, something has gone back up that was going down, which was a good thing, and it went back up. What do you do now? Do you give up because you're not motivated? Or do you find ways to keep pushing? Well, in order to keep pushing, you need that discipline, y'all. You need the discipline. The discipline helps when motivation no longer helps. And so, um, what do you do for discipline? I would like to know. What do you think discipline looks like when motivation does not help you anymore or for the time being? Because it may come back, motivation may come back, it comes and goes. So what do you do when that scale not moving? What do you do when you got a report from your doctor that your blood work is not where it once was, even though you're doing what you're supposed to do? Let me know what y'all think about that, or what you've done if you've been in that situation. Or have you been in that situation yet? Because, like, for me, when I first started, taking the medication, and, even me doing the things that, like I said, low carb, because for me, when I found out, when I was diagnosed with type 2 last year in July, I was not initially taking the medication. I didn't start taking the medication because I found out the beginning of July. I didn't start taking the medication to the end of July, the Manjaro medication. I was taking insulin. They gave me insulin initially. And so I decided to go ahead and start, eating better, because I knew that was going to help me, right? Of course, insulin is like normally one of the fastest things that will get your sugars back down, your blood glucose back down on a daily basis. So that's why my doctor, pretty much made me take it, right? They prescribed me it and said, you need to take this. Like, you can't take a pill, because I wanted a pill. And they were like, nope, you need insulin because your sugars are too high and they're staying too high. So we need to be aggressive with this. And the insulin does help with that, right? So I told them, okay, I'll do that. All right. So of course that wasn't motivation. That didn't motivate me. But like I said, through my prayers and knowing, the motivation was for me too, like Twan said earlier, to live. I wanted to live. I'm like, I'm going to live, and I want to live a long life, and I want to live a vibrant life, healthy life. And so with that being said, health came first for me, right? It's like a light bulb went on, it just clicked on, turned on. And it's like, how can I do what I need to do for better health? And so therefore I started immediately, researching things, and trying to figure out what I can do to get this A1C down from a 15.1, which is horribly high, right? It's dangerously high to be at a 15.1 A1C level. I mean, the normal range is 5.6. The charts only go up that the doctors use to 10. So what does Kim need to do? So Kim J, she decided she wanted to go on she is me. She wanted to go on a very low carb diet. I didn't actually do keto, but I did a very low carb diet, and and ate my protein and my veggies, and that helped my A1C like drop in a couple weeks, right? To the point where it was from 15.1 at the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, it was 12.9. That was before I got on Manjaro. Once I got on Manjaro, so of course that's motivation in itself, right? But it had to kind of form some disciplines. I had to, say, okay, look, Kim, you're going to have to do this, period. Like, no more playing, like you were doing before when you had your high blood pressure diagnosis, when you had your kidney disease diagnosis. You got to get it together. This has truly gotten real at this point. So let's do what you got to do to get it done. So that prayer that I did to my Father God, I had to pray about it. I'm like, Lord, you got to help me with this. What do I do? Like, we know what to do, y'all. For real, for real. When we think about it, we really know what we need to be doing. But we know we don't want to do it, right? We don't want, we got to create disciplines so that we can do it, And so we got to start somewhere. So I started, and I'm like, okay, cut the sugars out, cut the carbs, low, so I stopped doing table sugars altogether, because I was one that loved Coca-Cola. And if I wasn't drinking Coca-Cola, um, classic at that, then I would want tea with my sugar. So very, very sweet tea, right? Very, very sweet tea. And or at one point I used to do Kool-Aid, but I kind of slowed down. I stopped really drinking Kool-Aid, but when I did, it was very, very high in sugar. So yeah, I had to cut that out. I'm like, no more, of it. Because I know diabetes, it could be detrimental, right? And so therefore I did it. And with the help of the Lord, like I said, I found a community, my GLP-1 community, and, just start listening at them and start, just learning a lot, from some of you all, and, content creators as well as content creator supporters. And, talk to my doctor about some things that I heard about from you all, and just different things, researching on my own, listening at different scientists and different doctors, on YouTube, just gathering the information that I need to best suit, and then looked at it and said, okay, what will best suit my needs, and then I made the decision on what I needed to do, right? And I did it, and it was, low carb, but I still ate, like, my go-to carbs were Gala apples, and specifically Gala because I know they have 4 fiber in it. It's for 4 ounces. The one I choose to eat, and then also I did cuties, mandarin oranges, tangerines. I don't know what's the difference of them, but they got a lot of names. But yeah, those were my carby, go tos, and I would eat it every day, and then I would eat, green leafy vegetables and protein, and that helped me tremendously lower the A1C. Even with getting the apples, like keto don't want you to do apples. The one I know about, of course, keto is not on that list, right? I mean, I'm sorry, apples are not on the keto list that I had. It's nor was tangerines or cuties, mandarin oranges. So yeah. So when I was doing keto, it was more so the berries, and I'm not really into berries. I do like blueberries now. Since I've been doing, on this journey, I've learned to like blueberries. I really like them. But the raspberries, the strawberries, the blackberries, well, the raspberries are a lot of times be real mushy. Um, Especially if you're trying to rinse them off, and, you know, like I normally rinse my fruit off with lemon juice and water or whatever, or like I may do baking soda and vinegar on my apples, and because I'm trying to, like, make sure they're all the stuff that goes on it that they, put on it to grow it and everything, that it's not there. As much as I can get it off, I will. But yeah, so I didn't like that. And then the strawberries and the blackberries, they have all those seeds in it, and that grosses me out. So I'm a texture person, so that being on my, and even if I do it in a smoothie, I still can, the seeds are there. And that bothers me. So I don't do that. And, I couldn't get that from keto. So that's why, keto just wasn't working for me. But like I said, with this, when I was doing it here, on this journey, and being able to eat, the apple and the tangerine, that gave me the little sugar, you know, that I, may have craved for on a normal basis. And so, that helped me out. And then, like I said, the veggies, having the veggies and everything. So that was what I did at first. And that, like I said, that helped tremendously drop that A1C, the glucose first, of course, the daily glucose, as well as then A1C within those 3 months. And at that point, they were checking me so, like every 2 weeks, and until it got down to a certain level, A1C. And then they were like, okay, now I can check you every 3 months like you normally would, 3 to 6 months. And so, yeah, that's what I did. I did that. And then I started Manjaro at the at the end of July, that's when I started my Manjaro journey and my weight loss journey. And so with that, like I said, my A1C by that time was 12 point. I think it was, I forgot, 12 point something. And I have to look at the numbers, but yeah, it was 12 point something. And then 2 months later, it was at 8.6. And it wasn't just because I was taking Manjaro. It was because I was putting forming habits at the time, being disciplined with that, whatever. And so that way I could, the A1C was, it was proven results that it worked, doing what I did. And then now, I mean, as I kept going with it, I got off the insulin within 2 months. Then they put me on Jardiance and the Manjaro. Then I got off that, the Jardiance, because I was, getting low sugars. That lets me know, okay, that was letting the doctors know as well as myself know I don't need to be on the insulin anymore. Then when they put on the Jardiance, it was like, oh, when you get on the Jardiance, your sugar shouldn't go low ever. You should be good. But I was on the Jardiance and the Manjaro, and my sugar still was going lower. So I was like, okay, Kim, what are you gonna do now? And my talked to my doctor about it, and they were like, okay, we need to take you off the Jardiance, and we're just gonna keep you on Manjaro. And that's what I've been doing ever since. I've been rocking with Manjaro ever since. And so I had to find ways to, like, okay, let me up my carbs a little bit now that I'm out of that danger zone, and so I've been kind of increasing my carbs to kind of, lower those sugar lows or the low sugars. Anything under 70 would be considered a low sugar. And so, yeah, that's what I did. But the discipline that the disciplines I formed helped me do that. It helped me do that. But that's so make sure, you're, is this, what is it? Make sure, you're forming disciplines as well as, the motivation is awesome. It gets you crunk, it gets you pumped up. Hey, but when the motivation stops, what do you do? See, Mia, yeah, great analogy and example, correct. All right, so Bellflower says, will be interesting to see what maintenance looks like on a grand scale once folk have reached their health and weight goals rather than remain on the meds or not. Yes, I believe that too. It will be interesting, Bellflower. All right, so Jojo, I felt like I was going to eat my fingers on keto without GLP-1. I might consider removing bread, but keeping rice at some point if it becomes too difficult. Now, for me, Jojo, I did. I was, after a little bit of the mainly just doing the as for as my carb choice of the apple and the tangerine, I started eating the low carb bread, the keto bread. One of them that I started with was Sara Lee Delightful, smooth, soft and smooth wheat bread. So that has, it's a moderate carb, and it has high fiber. So you know how with keto, the fiber cancels out the carbs, and you're talking about net carbs. So, and it also has some protein in it. So that's the bread of choice I ate, um, a couple weeks after I had started, my journey. And so I did add that in. So I added a little bit here, a little bit there, after the initial. But that's how I got my A1C to go down from the 15 to the 12. And then, like I said, I kind of started, adding other little things in. And of course, because I remember keto, that's in the back of my mind. I remember how it goes, whether I did it or not. Well, I remember it. And so I think about that when I'm on my low to moderate carb diet, or regimen. I know people don't like the word diet, but yeah. So that's what I do. So I did that, and then I ate every now and again. I would eat some rice. So when I ate the rice, I normally don't go for like the regular white rice. Now I grew up on Mahatma rice, white rice. We didn't do the whole grain rices and things like that. We did the hot Mahatma, and we ate it. most of the week because my daddy used to love rice and gravy. So that's what we grew up on. Then when I got older, I stopped doing the gravy as much. I started doing like rice aroni and, or if I did the white rice, I did do gravy, but, I did a lot of rice aroni or pasta ronis, things like that, which is boxed, which is processed. I did, if I'm cooking like a big meal, I would do gravy and rice or whatever. But yeah, I learned how to, but I had to learn how to eat eat different when I got on this journey. And with that being said, I decided, okay, I'm a portion. If I eat the rice, I'm going to, portion the amount of rice I ate. And so that's what I did. I portioned it. So say if I went to Chipotle, okay, they serve rice with their bowls. If I was to get rice with my bowl at the time, because I did eat out still a little bit, because that was another issue. I ate out a lot. I ate a lot, a lot, a lot. With that, besides when I was saying about the drinking the sugary drinks and things, and eating like I said, the processed stuff. But on this regimen, I stopped doing so much processed foods, and I stopped doing so much rice and things of that nature, and I stopped the cokes. Like, that came to halt immediately. um didn't have a desire for it anymore, because I knew that was going to be, I couldn't even play with that. That's something you can't, I couldn't even play with, because I knew that was something that I craved all the time. But and then, like I said, I cut out the sugar, just the regular table sugar and things of that nature. But with that being said, when it came to the rice, I was like, okay, just give me a little portion of it. And what I would do is I asked the people for that at the restaurant. And then so they'll put it in that little cup. I think it's a 4-ounce cup, and they will put my rice in that, and they will put my beans in that. Now, I'm not really too keen on eating the beans in the bowl anyway, so I didn't have to worry about that too much. But I knew beans had fiber. So I said, put the beans in an extra cup and put the rice in a cup. And I wanted I don't even like their white rice. I like their brown rice. So I'm like, put the brown rice in the cup as well to the side. And then I'll make it pretty much like a salad, the actual bowl. And so when I got home, I may eat just a little bit of that, like a fourth of a cup of that rice, and then, I'm good, or I get a little bit of those beans, just a very, very little. Cause like I said, I really don't care for the beans anyway. So yeah, that's how I would eat my bowl. And, that helped me, like I said, tremendously, because my A1C went down so well. So yeah, if you want to eat those things, it's fine. It's just when it comes to diabetes, or whatever, or just trying to better your insulin. It's like if you have insulin resistance, but you're not a diabetic, you know, to control that insulin a little bit more, control those sugar spikes a little bit more, you can do that. You can portion, the amount of carbs you eat. And then also, not only that, is how you eat your food. When it comes down to definitely being a diabetic, and you're trying to watch your sugars and trying to make sure your insulin don't spike, too much, it's how you eat your food. So, for instance, try to eat your protein and your veggies, or your veggies and your protein, whichever, first before you start eating your carbs. So you're going to front load your body with veggies and fruit. I'm sorry, veggies and protein first, and fiber, and then you start eating a little bit of carbs. You know, but don't put too many carbs on that plate. Make sure you're putting a good bit of protein, making sure you're putting a good bit of vegetables on there. Eat a little bit of both of those, and then eat a little bit of your carbs. Let the carbs be not, like the smallest thing on your plate. And if you're eating in a smaller, if you're eating like low carb, you can eat more fat. From what keto, the keto world says, you can tend to have a little bit more fat in your diet. But even with the fats, I try to stay away from the seed oils if I can. I used to cook in canola oil, and every now and again some vegetable oil. But now if I have to cook, with oil, I use avocado oil, because that can, that can withstand a high, heat temperature. So I use avocado oil. way more expensive, but if that's what I want, then I have to do what I have to do. Now, I'm not saying I never have, the seed oils, which is like I said, the canola oil and the grapeseed oil and, just the different things like that, like we're used to typically using to fry foods. Um, but, I do every now and again decide I want to fry something. And if I do, I'll just use the avocado oil. And also avocados are good for like you want to just choose the healthier fats. So avocado oil or avocado is good for you. The fats from the meat, like say if it's okay to have meat um with skin on it or without, it's up to you. But it'll give you some fats, like the meats that you eat and things of that nature. Coconut oil will give you some, good fat. It's a good healthy fat. So yeah, those type things. It's others, but those are the things I'm going to name. So yeah, I think it's just easier to just eat more intuitive. You know, when it comes down to eating, that's what I feel for myself. But again, not a doctor, not a nutritionist, not a dietitian, none of that. Not in the health field, period. All right. So, but yes, I can see it being easier for you. If you were doing keto, if you decide that you want to do keto, I can see it being easier when you're on a GLP-1 because the GLP-1 takes the food noise away and it takes the appetite. It is suppresses your appetite. Twan says I would crash on keto. There's no way that I could ride my bike and eat 20 carbs. I feel you on that. Yep. And I think sometimes I've seen research, through research and saying that, some people do like up to 50 carbs. But still, even with that, you need your carbs to help fuel your body. You need your carbs to help fuel your body. So like before I was like I said, low on my carbs to get though, and like I said, I was just very determined to get it down, my A1C down to back in the normal range and as quick as possible because I definitely want to get off the insulin. I'm up to my eyeballs with pills, so I want to hurry up and get off that Jardiance too, but definitely the insulin. So I was like, okay, the Manjaro I'm fine with. That's once a week injection. Boom, you're done. You don't have to keep taking all this medication and all that because then other medications have side effects too. And so yeah, I want to try to get it down, but I noticed, like I said, as I went up in the medication, I needed to increase those carbs. I didn't need to stay low carb forever. It was just for a specific time frame and then move forward. And so I learned how to introduce things back into my regimen so that I can enjoy the carbs. And like you said, because with me strength training, Twine, you know and walking and things of that nature, I need carbs too. I need some carbs in my life as well. Okay, and you're a beast on that bike, that Peloton, honey. You are a beast. So yeah, definitely carbs is important. All right. Okay, so again, not a doctor. All right, so Mia says, I completely understand. Yep, Jojo, I do too. All right, Darren says you need some fuel, correct. All right, me too, Twan. Felicia says I need my carbs for cardio and weightlifting, correct. Me too, Felicia. All right, Mia says, now I think about what to do. I need to eat to meet to I what to do what she need to do to meet her daily fuel goals. Correct. It's a reframe in my mind of food as fuel instead of fuel as I'm sorry, instead of food as a reward. Yes, yes. Picking the best fuel for my set goals. That's so true. That's so true. And that's so important for us to do as we continue on this journey. Even if you started off not doing any of these things, you know, I challenge you to, eat, try them. Try to eat better. That mindset shift is very important. And that's something that I had to do at the beginning so that I could be disciplined and, and get those A1C numbers down, and meet my goals as quick as possible. And I was able to get my A1C back to the normal range in 5 months. It went back to a 5.6, and that's what the normal range is 5.6 or under. And I was able to get the A1C back down in 5 months by doing these things that I'm talking about today. Um, Mindset shift was first. Well, prayer was first, then mindset shift. He helped me shift my mind, through the research that I was, through the determination as well as the motivation, and that helped me out a lot. And so, like I said, continue to, um, as I continue to go, I continue to grow. I didn't know about strength training first. I didn't realize how important it was, for me to strength train. And so, like I said, with people like you all, with content creators, as well as the supporters, I want from my community, GLP-1 community, from our community, our bigger community, you know, it helped me, understand that a little bit more. And I did my own research too. And I decided, okay, you know what? It's time to start strength training. And I wish I knew earlier, but I can't go backwards. I can start now, right? And it has tremendously, I've learned to really, really enjoy it. Um, it could be somewhat hard work, of course, but and strenuous a little bit, but it's very, very beneficial for our to strength train for our bone health, to help with our muscle, to actually try to keep as much muscle as we can, as well as maybe gain some muscle, and not to the point where unless you want to be a bodybuilder, not to that point. You have to really be focused in and really, intentional to become a bodybuilder. But it's way more than just lifting up a couple weights. So, but that helps an average individual person to strength train. It helps us keep that muscle mass. It helps us, have strong bones. And as you age, that's another thing. Besides, sometimes people, wind up, end up having sicknesses as we age. We wind up, our bones start getting a little bit more, working down a little bit more. They're not as strong as, when we were, smaller. So, or if we have a fall for some reason and we need to recover, it's sometimes maybe harder to recover if your bones are not strong, if your muscles are not strong, and things of that nature. So, you know, that's why it's important to make sure, that's why I decided to go ahead on and, add strength training to my exercise regimen besides the cardio and the walking that I had already been doing. So, yep. All right. So Darian says that so good, Mia. Is your body finally reacting to all the work you're doing to take care of you? And Mia says, yeah, motivation goals, but daily goals keep me on my path. Not scale goals, but fuel goals. How much protein do I still need to get in? Have I got my fiber in? Or will this choice provide something for both goals? That's awesome, Mia. I love it. I am loving it tonight that you are well on your way. Um, to making sure you're good, making sure, your health is great, much better than, what it was in the past. And I'm loving it. It's what's important for my total health, correct? Making daily goals. That's so true. That's so true. And as we continue on this journey, because the journey it's a lot, it's a lifetime journey, y'all, to be honest. Like it's not something, like before we may have been on different diets, they were fad diets, or they maybe just, you try to, it could have been it could have been a good healthy diet. But, for some reason we may have not have stayed on that. It wasn't sustainable for us. And so, I'm hoping and praying that this particular time, using the GLP-1, that you are doing everything that you can do to help, you know, create lifetime sustainable, um, you know, goals, and that you are able to, do this just for a lifetime is what I'm trying to say. And then as you continue on, we may have to tweak some things, right? We learn, you know, we learn things and we move things around, tweak some things so that we can do better, so that we can, um, see, maximize, the potential of being the healthiest people that we can be. All right. So Felicia says, I shift my mindset and research what I could do better, right, or differently. Correct. Hit my macros every day and never give up. Consistency will always be key. And that is also so true. Learning, like I said, like I was just saying, tweaking things as you learn what's better, for you. And what's better for you, Felicia, of course, but I'm just saying your name, may not be better for me. But we know that eating, you know better, making better choices when it comes to eating. And like I said, we all know what we should really be eating. What's considered a better choice of food versus a not so good choice of food, or a very bad choice of food. So, without anybody telling you, we grew up knowing that. So, we want to try to, and we want to also, it would be nice to sometimes, as you learn to try new things. Like, for instance, cottage cheese. Wasn't touching it with a 10-foot pole before, but, and it's still kind of weird to me, people eating it, for me, with, like fruit and cottage cheese. I'm still trying to figure that out. But, I have learned to eat cottage cheese with things that I'm used to putting cheese on. It tastes like cheese. It's just the curds in it. It's kind of weird to me. If I just eat it by itself. So sometimes I just mash it out. When I first bought some cottage cheese, I just started mashing the curd, trying to mash the curds out, right? And then it's just like cheese to me. I've been enjoying it with when I do pinwheels. When I make a pinwheel, with my low carb tortilla wrap, I use the Mission low carb. That's my go-to um, tortillas, and it has a lot of fiber. It's moderate in carbs, so, or probably still considered low carb, because when you think about, like I said, the high carb, I mean the total carbs minus the fiber, it becomes, very little net carbs. So with that being said, I guess it would be really considered low carb, but choice. But when I do those, I make pinwheels out of it. Maybe chicken pinwheels, chicken and bacon, cheese pinwheels, chicken and broccoli pinwheels, things like that. So I do that, but I put the cottage cheese in it because, I'm going to put, normally when you do a pinwheel, you'll put the Philadelphia cream cheese. So I don't use as much as that. I use, I add some cottage cheese to it to get some more protein, because cottage cheese has a lot of protein in it. And then you know, I make my wrap like that, or my pin, wrap it up or whatever and cut it so to make the pinwheels. So I enjoy it. I don't taste no different than just cheese to me. So, and you don't taste the curds in it. I don't mash the curds down then, because of course that's going to melt when I put it in the air fryer. So yeah, I began to love that. Same thing, like I said, with blueberries. I wasn't a blueberry fan, but I know berries were good for you. I learned to eat blueberries on my journey. So as you learn, you know, you start adding more stuff to your regimen so that you can become, so that you can eat better, so you can become healthier. And yes, macros is very important. Now, when you come to macros, for those who may not know, you're talking protein, you're talking um, carbs, and fats. That's your macros. And like I said, the TDEE calculator, if you don't know what your macros should be, you know, even talking to your doctor and everything, you can go on that TDEE calculator. It's a lot of other calculators out there, but that's one I've used to find out what my, depending on what you want to do. If you want to bulk up, which means, you're trying to, get some muscles and things, because you're not on a weight loss journey or whatever, or you want to cut, that's meaning you're trying to, lose some fat or lose some weight. And and it's another one too, maintenance. So if you're not doing any of the, neither one of those two, but you're, just trying to maintain everything, when you maybe have gotten to your weight loss goal and you're just trying to maintain, it gives you all three of them when you put your when you put your information in, like your age, your weight, um, what type of exercise you get and things that you do every day, or how many times a week you do it. It asks you all those things, and then it'll do some calculation for you, and then it'll give you a lot of different things to help you determine what calorie count you should be at every day, as well as your macros, what percentage you should be um focused trying to what your goals are, what are you trying to get every day to meet the needs that you're trying to meet. All right, so Bellflower says my why was beyond the scale, it was four tier. All right, with weight loss being the bonus. I know that's right, Bellflower. I'm so locked into my why that I'm never neglecting me again. I'm reading it slow because I'm enjoying every word. All right, and then health is wealth in this chapter of my life. I know that's right, Bellflower. I am with you on that, girl. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, yes, ma'am. And that's good. Like you said, find out what your why is. Try to understand what your why is. And sometimes the why may change. Sometimes it may be, oh, I'm about weight loss. I'm trying to do this for weight loss. And then as you go and as you grow, you start seeing it starts shifting to something else. It starts shifting to better health in general, better wellness, not just weight loss. So then that scale don't mean as much to you. Yes, we will still, like for me, I still want to lose some weight to get to my goal weight. And my goal right now is 165. But the most important thing is my health, and that's what I started out with. I want to live long, healthy, vibrant. So that was my why, you know, and then, like I said, yes, I also, as a bonus, like Bellflower said, I want to lose some weight too, because guess what? I know that weight is going to help me with doing, with being healthy as well. I knew that, because at the weight I was at, that wasn't a good weight for me. Not for my build, it wasn't. 253 was not good for, me at 51 at 5 feet 2.5 inches. That wasn't good for me. I carried that much weight on me for way too many years. Way too many years. So I knew the scale needed to go down. And like I said, I knew this medication was going to more than likely help it go down. Or it was a chance that it was going to help it go down, I should say. And I just said, I'm gonna bet on me, and I'm gonna bet on, this Manjaro, and we're gonna see what it do. And it did what it did, y'all. But Kim did a whole lot of work herself. A whole lot of work. And I think for me doing what I was doing, it helped that scale go down further. Because for those that have an A1C, a high A1C, this medication, Manjaro, they say, it's for to help you to lower your A1C. It may or may not help you lose weight. It's for helping you with your A1C, like you said, the metabolic health. It is helping with that kind of stuff. It's helping with, sleep apnea if you have it. It's helping with, kidney disease. It's helping with those type things. Diseases that we may, end up having. Not so much the weight, but it can help you with the weight, but I think, like I said, it's best to make sure that you're doing everything you can, like you normally would do. That's why I said we're doing it natural, as far as, those who are doing it, doing the things like nutrition and strength training, and making sure they they changing their lifestyle, making lifestyle changes, you know, that's natural, right? That's a natural way to do it. However, we also use this medication as a help to help us with what we're already doing. You know, that's what it's all about. It's like the best of both worlds. I get some help because I need some help, right? Because I tried to do it in the past and it did not work, long term. So why not catch this help that they got? So it was a thing that I was going to put out there, and I still going to put it out there. When it comes to, I'm just going to go back to diet culture a little bit. Diet culture is like do it natural, natural, natural. You need to work hard. Like, you got to work hard to get this thing done. And if you're not, again, you're cheating. You're being lazy. You're taking the easy road. Well, think about a person that's, say if you were in a pool of water, you're in a pool, and for some reason you can't swim, but you're in a pool because you're enjoying your pool. You love the pool. Water feels good, and it's calming and things of that nature. And you're out and you're playing with playing with someone, whatever. And when I say playing with someone, it's like, maybe, you're playing a game, you're throwing the ball back and forth, or, trying to get from one side to the other, who racing or whatever the case may be, or just enjoying it in general, with your family. And for some reason you slip a little bit, because maybe how the bottom of the pool sometimes is slippery, and since you can't swim, you may be in 3 feet, 4 feet. You're not trying to go too far from that, right? Especially if you're shorter. So with that being said, say if you were, you say, okay, I'm not gonna go past this line, the line that they be having in the pool, to say this is the deep end versus a shallow, versus, I guess the shallow end. All right, so you do that, and then you go and you decide, you playing around that little area because that's where everybody is. Because ain't nobody sitting, down on the step, right? So you want to get in and have a good time too. All right, so you get in there, you having a good time, and for some reason you slip a little bit, and you about to go under, and you don't know how to swim, you don't know how to float, you don't know how to backstroke. Okay, there's somebody out there, a lifeguard. They throw that thing out there for you to, the tube out there for you to grab. Do you not grab it? Do you decide not to grab it and say, you know what, I got this, and just let me try to stand up? Is that what you're saying? Or are you trying to grab whatever you can grab? Grab the side of that thing, that pool wall. You trying to grab a person. You're trying to grab whatever you can grab to help save your life, right? So that you won't drown, so that you won't, go under anymore. So you won't, inhale all that water and things. So you can breathe, because when you're underwater, it's hard to breathe, whatever, when you're panicking and carrying on. So I look at that the same way as I look at this, medication. This is helping some people, a whole lot of people, and I'm thankful that, we have this medication that can help people that needed a help, that needed that boost, that extra help to help get, this ball rolling, and keep it rolling. So, like I said, before, you know, don't worry about people, that says these negative things toward the medication, and probably don't even, know anything about the medication. They haven't even did the research on what's going on. They heard a couple things and they just go on and on and on about it, how it's not good when they haven't looked at not one, article or listen at one person on the live, their lives or their YouTube channels, or research on Google or Chat GPT or wherever to find out what this medication is really about. But like I said, I'm seeing other people coming on every day, saying, I think I might need this medication. I tried it on my own and it's not working no matter what I do. And, so that's what this medication is here to help, not to do it for you, but to help. All right, so Mel did say 100. She agreed with Bellflower. All right, so Mel says, I'm fading on these medications, but I'm listening. All right. I got you, Mel. All right. Feel better soon. Yes, yes. Let me see. And get you some rest. Yes, she's been resting, y'all, because she's one that she moves a lot. She moves a lot. You know, I think she has a lot of her metabolism is really good, but yeah, she's chilling a little more than what she usually do. All right, so Mia says, I hope you feel better. Yep. Okay, so Mia says, I feel like GLP-1 changed the taste of certain things. I don't like the same stuff anymore. And I'm like that too with some stuff. I notice, and I'm not saying I don't like my favorite cake is red velvet cake, right? I love it, right? If I had like sometimes, we have had a cake in the house and I'm like, y'all better hurry up because I'm getting a piece of cake. I'm gonna keep getting a piece of cake. Not I won't get like 4 or 5 pieces in a day, no. But I'm gonna eat a piece of cake every day. And I may get a second piece. Um, and I mean I don't get that big of a piece all the time, but I do, I'm getting it. Um, and so I remember the last time we had some, um, my I wind up I ended up, my I don't think my husband even got any. It was that cake was gone. I'm like, dude, I told you, you need to get your piece. But yeah, so that kind of stuff. I mean, and then the same thing with like I said, Cokes. I don't crave them anymore. I have had a Coca Cola, since I've started the journey, um, but very, 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 very few, very, very few. I used to buy big cases from Sam's. I guess it's a case, but whatever. I bought the big thing from Sam's. That's what I used to buy, and I would keep them in my car, and I would take some out, you know, 1 or 2 out at a time because I like them cold. I don't like putting them on ice, like hot on, and then put it on ice because it takes all the fizz out of it. It's not as good, so I always make sure it's cold before I drink it. But yeah, I I just cut it out altogether for a long time, for months. And then, matter of fact, I think I did have a sip of my husband's when we went on a trip. I think it was like in the summertime. It had been like no, it wasn't summertime. It was October. I sipped a little bit of his when we went to Zaxby's because we were out of town, and I was choosing water, but I was like, let me just get a little sip just to get a little something in, and that's all I took. It was like a one little sip, and that was it. And then I think I didn't drink any more again until I met Tracy Twan's life, Twan, and Mel B and Shia Tamika in Tampa in January, at the end of January. I had a Pepsi, and I didn't even drink the whole thing. It was a little glass from the hotel, and they had a lot of ice in it and everything. I didn't even drink the full glass of it, because I just didn't. I don't crave it like that anymore. So I crave it really at all anymore. So I did buy some Coca Colas, the classic regular Cokes, and I have them just in case my sugar goes low and I might need something. I did get it for that, but other than that, I don't have to have it anymore. Where before I was almost upset, I was obsessed with it. You know, with the red velvet cake I was talking about. You know, I loved it when I saw it, and it was good homemade red velvet cake. Like you can't just be putting like red food coloring in a chocolate cake and call it red velvet. No, 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 no. That's not red velvet. It needs to be red. It needs to be velvety. It needs to taste like something different than chocolate cake, right? So with that being said, most of the time if I ate it, it was homemade, not the store bought stuff or the stuff that, is in the restaurants. They're in the restaurants. But when I got them, like for, what was that? My sister had one and I needed to go to her house for something. And she was like, she wasn't home. She was like, okay, go in, get da 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 da. And she was like, and I got some red velvet cake if you want some. I was like, oh yeah, I'm good. I don't want it. And I did not get it. I didn't even look for it, wherever it was in the house. I mean, it was somewhere, in the house, but I didn't even think about taking any or whatever. Same thing with fried foods. I love fried foods. I used to always, I love Popeye's chicken. That was my thing. I used to, eat that a lot. And I don't crave it anymore. Now have I had Popeyes? Yes, I've had it once since July of last year. Once. It was good. I enjoyed it. Have I, like I said, have I had Coke? Yes. And I enjoyed what I had, but I didn't want it. I didn't like, oh, I need more, like I did before back in the day. I used to, when I got off Cokes and then I came back and drunk some more, I started wanting them, more and more and more. I don't have that issue, so that's a blessing. So I'm feeling on that, Mia. All right, so Bellflower says, Mia, 100%, which makes it easier to let certain things go. Correct, and that's the beauty of these medications. That's the beauty of the medications. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. My daughter was calling me. I hope she okay. Making sure she all right. All right. So Felicia said yes. All right. And she was talking to Mia. All right. Mia says totally was hooked on Pepsi Zero daily. And now I really don't have one bit out once in a while. So you only have it once in a while. Yeah. Okay. So you say you grab water or a protein drink first. Yes. So that's good. That's a like I said, better your journey to better health, right? Your journey to better health. And even like you said, with Coke Zeros. Now I do have some Coke Zeros in here. I have some Sprite Zeros. You think I'm drinking, and I ain't drinking that either. I got them when I first started my journey. I probably drank one of each, and I don't crave it like that anymore. But yes, I will, like I said, drink that protein shake one a day. Very, very seldom will I drink an oath. Like if I need some more protein and I'm like, I can't eat no more. I'm done. I can't, I'm over it. I'm full. I may drink some oath protein. Um, but very, very seldom because again, my dietitian, she says, okay, to drink the one protein, but she said, the one protein drink a day, which I normally drink either um, Premier Premier protein or I drink Atkins, and I like the Premier because it has the 30 grams and they have more of a flavors. The Atkins don't have as many flavors, and they only have that I know of three flavors that has the 30 grams, and I'm all trying to get the protein in, so yeah. And so I just put like some mix, like a Mateo's liquid, um, liquid creamer in, so that I can, make it taste, better. I love caramel creamer, and so I use that. But I also use the powdered creamer, which I showed on my last video. And I don't always get the sugar free. I'm like, it's only I think one or two carbs in it. So I'm like, like I said, I'm okay with eating carbs now. I have a better relationship with carbs, so I can add a little bit more to my regimen. How you doing, Miss Jarlene? Oh, sorry. How you doing, Jarlene? How you doing? Hope you're doing well tonight. Happy you were able to come on. All right. So Mel says, thanks everyone. One quick note before I get quiet. A great hack if you must have carbs due to activity levels, the quality of the carb. Complex carbs, whole grains are really the answer. Very true, Mel. Very, very true. So again, I've mentioned a little bit about me eating the white rice. I don't really eat the white rice like that anymore. I got, like, say, from Chipotle. I Instead of the white rice, I opted for the brown rice. The brown rice to me at Chipotle tastes better than the white rice for some reason. I was eating Mahatma growing up. That was a brand of rice. It's just regular white rice, not the brown and all that stuff they have, the jasmine and all that. But yes, complex carbs are much, much more nutrient than the whites, or the simple carbs, right? And when I say white, I'm like the white rice, the white flours, the white bread, the white, those are the main things. Oh, the white potatoes and things of that nature. Those are more simple carbs, which means that the sugars, it can kind of spike your sugar a little bit quicker. It breaks down in your body into sugar, because carbs turn into sugar in your body, and so therefore, and that's all carbs, but simple carbs will turn into sugar a little bit quicker, a lot quicker, I'm sorry, than like complex carbs. And the complex carbs will be your brown rice, your sweet potato, things of that nature. And then you have sugars too, that instead of like the regular sugar, of course, that's sugar, right? Straight up. And then, but if you get like, say, natural sugars such as stevia, monk fruits, allulose, those sugars do not spike your sugar, your glucose. Either it won't spike it at all, or it's very, very small, of a upward tick. So yes, yes, yes. So for me, like I said, when I choose a keto bread, I either now I've not only am I eating a Sara Lee, but sometimes I'll get the Nature's Own. The It's a, what is it called? Nature's Own. Um, it's the honey wheat bread, and that also has not many carbs. It's higher in fiber than a regular bread, and it also has some protein in it as well. So I eat either one of those, either the Sara Lee smooth and soft, or soft and smooth wheat, or I get the Nature's Own honey wheat um, keto bread, and those are the two that I choose to eat. I also like the Arnold Keto Thins. They're sandwich bread. This is sandwich bread, and you can use that to maybe say if you want to make a chicken sandwich, or like a tuna salad or a chicken salad. I mean, it's so many different things you can eat with that. It's kind of almost like, for me, I use it in place of, say, a regular bun, right? Like a hamburger bun or something like that, or just regular bread, when I eat things like that. Or like I've also ate it. I used it. I made some bacon. I put avocado, some spinach, some cheese. And I made a breakfast sandwich with the keto, um, with the Arnold keto sandwich thins. Now there are other Arnold sandwich thins, but I normally get the keto one because it's a big, it's a big amount of fiber in that. Even though it has carbs in it, when you look at the carbs, you're like, oh my goodness, it's a lot of carbs. But then you look at that fiber, and it's like, okay, that fiber is canceling out the carbs, so therefore your sugar is not going to spike. It's not going to go up as quick. So therefore, because of the fiber that's in it, and it also is, has a lot of protein in it as well. The only bad thing, I cannot find the Arnold keto sandwich stands anymore. For some reason, I've gone all over my city, and I'm like, where are they? So I'm not sure. I may have to like order them online. And Mel actually told me about those, and I tried them. And I'm like, I love them. Um, Okay, so Mia says, Darian, my body doesn't hurt as bad as it used to every day. I was able to cut my pain management medication in half. That is awesome. Y'all give us some love. Show us some love for that. All right, in half, because I just don't sit and lay around as I did at 426.6 pounds. At 306, I feel like I want to move more and sit less. Awesome, 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 Mia. I'm loving it, girl. You doing it, girl. I am loving it, honey. Yes, yes. So that's a great testimony, Mia. Another one. Look, another part of your testimony. You know, just being able to move more. Because of these medications has helped you with the things that you decided to do yourself, the natural things that you're doing, and it's helping you. Is helping you, move better, and you're on your way to just being the healthiest being that you can be. And I am loving it, every minute of it. All right. So Jerlene says, Mel, hope you feel better soon. Thanks, Miss Jerlene. All right. So Mel says, thanks for the tip, Mel. All right. The sweetest Jerlene. Yes, yes, yes. I agree, Felicia. All right. Jerlene said, oh, Felicia, thank you, sis. Oh, all right. Mia says, you're welcome. I'm sorry, Mia. Mel says, you're welcome, Mia. She says, thank you to Jerlene. Oh, and I do believe in a balanced diet. Yes, healthy fats, complex and whole grain carbs, and protein. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. That's awesome. Yes. So that's your, getting your macros in. Sorry, your macros, making sure that you're getting healthy fats, like we've stated before. Mel confirmed it here. Your carbs, which of course you want to try to get more complex carbs than you have simple. And I'm not going to say you can't have any simple carbs. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, it's, health, complex carbs are better nutrients. They have better nutrients than simple carbs. They also help, like I said, with making sure that your sugars don't spike, you know, or it lessens the chances of it going up so high. Because when we eat, when we eat just anything really, but when we eat our foods, the glucose or our sugars actually go up a little bit, right? The glucose go up a little bit, and sometimes it goes up a little bit, like maybe a notch or two. Sometimes it can go up, you know, 10 notches. Sometimes it can go up 50 notches. Sometimes it can go up 100 notches. That's considered a spike, especially if it goes up so fast. Like if it goes up really, really fast. So when you eat these complex carbs and you balance your meals out with your proteins and your fats and your veggies, and then your carbs, that help. Even if you're eating simple carbs, even if you want to eat a piece of cake, if you have front loaded um, your your body with protein and veggies, green leafy veggies, which don't have as many carbs in it or very complex carbs in it, then you maybe have a little slice of cake. That's why, if you're, say, at a function with someone, you're at a birthday party, and they have cake, and you decide, okay, I want a little piece of cake. First of all, portion size your piece of cake if you decide you want to eat some. And if you do, eat you some protein and some veggies. And when I say veggies, I'm not talking about corn. I'm not talking about, starchy vegetables. I'm talking about, your like a good nice salad, some spinach. Those are the type of, kale, things like that. Those are the green leafies, collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. Those are the type things I'm talking about. Um, Again, we talked about fats already, avocado and things like that. That helps with the fats. But yeah, oh, peanuts. I'm sorry. Yeah, like nuts. Nuts are also a healthy fat. I didn't mention that earlier. But yeah, that would help a lot with your regimen and with your weight loss as well as your health goals. All right, so Dallas Steve says they are listening to the news and soundbite clips. Okay. Jodo says I had a notorious sweet tooth. The only and biggest difference I've noticed too so far is I don't crave sweets. Never in my life have I ever experienced this. Awesome, awesome, JoJo. I did still consume carbs, but now trying keto. And that's fine. I mean, like I said, you may not know if it works for you unless you try, right? Like I said, I don't knock keto. I don't. I just know for me, I don't know if that's that'll be good for me. You know, I know some people knock it, like they always knocking it, but I don't knock keto. I mean, like I said, if that works for you, I don't see nothing wrong with it. To be honest, every night again, I think about keto right now. You know, just for a moment though, not for something that I want to do all the, for a long time. But just every now and again, I'm like, should I just do a little bit of this? Because I know keto can, kick that fat, knock that fat out, because what keto does, instead of, your body normally runs off you get that fuel from them carbs. Well, with keto, instead of using the carbs, because you don't have that many carbs, it's your fuel is, is being received from the fat. So, you know, it's kind of eating away at that fat that we're holding around our bellies or our arms, our legs, or whatever. So, yeah. So, you know, I don't not keto. Like I said, you just got to be truthful to yourself. You have to be truthful to yourself. Is keto sustainable for you or not? And if you're going to get on it, is it going to be just a short term thing or a long term thing? If it's long term, be truthful to yourself to see, can I really do this? And I'm okay with cutting the carbs down as much as I have to when it comes to keto. That's it. But I'm happy that you're not that the medication is helping with your cravings of sweets and everything. Now, before I was not a sweets person. I was I like the salty stuff. More. I did eat sweets, but I just rather the salty things. But I noticed that maybe like at the beginning of as I got older and probably going through menopause and stuff, I started craving sweets a little bit more. Still, what didn't have to have them, but a little bit more. In 2024, like January, I started wanting sweets way too much. You know, and yeah, I knew something wasn't right. Something wasn't right. But I was stressed really, really bad, with my job and things like that. And so, it was like chocolate was a comfort to me. And so therefore, I would get sometimes I'll get it's a big old slice of cake from this little local shop. It's a food place, it's a restaurant, but they have cakes come in, they order cakes so that, so their customers can have them. And I would go there just for that. I don't have to go for the food. I go just for that big old slice of cake, real, I mean, gigantic slice of cake. And yeah, I was doing it way more than I should. And then I started getting really, really thirsty, like very, 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 very thirsty. I would drink like bottled water, the 16 ounce. I would drink that water. And of course, I'll go run to the restroom because, of course, I'm drinking the water. It seemed like no sooner as I'm using the bathroom, sit back down for a minute, and I'm like, okay, let me get another bottle of water. That was signs of my sugars going up. My A1C was elevated. And so that's signs of diabetes. And yeah, found out months later that, like I said, I had developed diabetes. So, all right. So Miss Linda said, I agree, Mia. Food does not taste good to me. I like things for a day, and when I go back to eat it, I don't like it anymore. I struggle with my taste buds. Yes, yes. Okay. But and then Miss Linda, as hopefully you're able to at least get what you need. The the nutrients. I'm sorry, that you need. You know per day or like average per week, I would say. So hopefully that is that you're able to at least still get that. But like I said, I hear people say they struggle with certain foods. Mine, like I said, mine is not a struggle. It's just I don't crave it anymore. So Mia says, yes, Linda, I have my taste changed too, right? All right. So she said, okay, so Linda says I add hot sauce on anything spicy or anything spicy to what I am eating and some of my drinks so I can taste it. I got you, Miss Linda. Okay, so that's why that's you the spicy girl. Miss Spicy. Yes, yes. And that helps you. All right, so great job, Mia. Miss Linda says. Mel B says, Linda, yes, to the hot sauce. Right. Yes. Linda says, I can't eat without it. Gotcha. Okay. Mel B said, I mean, Downside Diva says, Mel, you're funny. All right. Mel and Linda, are you like Beyonce with hot sauce in your purse? I know that's right. It's a lot of people do that too, Didi. It's a lot of people out here do that. All right. So Linda says, yes, in my purse and trunk of my car. That sounds like me and them Cokes. That sounds like me and them Coca-Colas, honey. All right. Mel B said, yes, pretty much. Not joking. Look, if I go somewhere and all they have is sriracha, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? I know that's right. I like Louisiana. I know some people like the Tabasco, the sriracha, different things. I like Louisiana. Because I don't have to have too hot of stuff. I don't like it too hot. Just a little bit. Sometimes I season with hot sauce too. All right. Dawson Steve said, Trunk. Jeez Louise, Miss Nanda. You're not playing. Oh my gosh. You ladies have tickled me. I know you laugh. I can see you laughing now, Didi. All right. Linda says, right, Mel B. Who wants a sriracha? Not me. So I stay prepared with my hot sauce to travel bottle. Okay. All right. So Mel B say you can buy the little teeny weeny 1-inch bottles of Tabasco online from World Market as a safety net. I think Walmart has the little small ones too. Now, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Mel B bought them all. I know that's right. They said they can't leave home without it, honey. That's like me and that flaxseed. I be having my flaxseed and my benefiber tucked away, just in case I decide to want to have me, a just to add some more fiber in. I say that. Mel says sold out, Didi. All right, y'all. So y'all with me on this this motivation versus discipline. Just are y'all with me on that? You started off with your motivation and the happiness and the, all that good stuff. And then, as you continue on your journey, you have to learn a little discipline. You have to learn a little discipline. Um, and just know that, even with discipline, you still want to make sure that, you realize that you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect because none of us are perfect, you know. Um, you're not doing it as punishment, or being rigid about it and things like that. But it just helps with boundaries. It helps with consistency. It helps with, you got to give yourself grace and everything. But, you, like I said, you want to make sure that you are showing up for yourself regardless, and switch over from motivation to discipline, so that you can continue to walk this walk. Because like I said, this is a lifestyle journey, and you want to make sure that, when other things are not going like you planned it to go, because of course we have that always. We get thrown curveballs all the time, some more than others, some worse than others. But you want to be ready for it. You want to be able to keep going. When the motivation is not there. Because if you don't have the discipline that you need to have, then you will go backwards, and you've done too much, of walking forward, you know, getting so much closer to your goal to go back now. You don't want to go back if you don't have to. You don't want to go back into the same place, the rut that you were in before. So the discipline is going to get you there. It's going to make sure you stay there. So that's what these habits that we're talking about, building these habits, lifestyle habits, to change the trajectory of our life, to make sure that we are healthier beings, that we're radiant, that we are vibrant within our living. We don't just want to live, we don't want to just be sitting and just living. We want to make sure that we are living a joyful or a happy life, a vibrant life, being able to, if you have legs to move, that you can move without aches and pains. And this medication can help with inflammation, y'all. it's helped so many of us already, and it's helping others. My prayer is that it continues to help for those who have not, gotten the relief from inflammation, that it helps, better help with inflammation, and things. So as well. So, and I'm hoping that they're able to find out as they continue to research and do their case studies and things of that nature, their trials and all that, that they find even more, you know, reasons why GLP-1s are good, options for people, you know, um, and that can be a help for people. And like I said, just making this decision is a very wise decision for a lot of us. Um, and it is very helpful to us. It's brave of us to take a medication that we didn't, that we really don't know a whole lot about. It hasn't been around for 100 years, but it has been around a long time. And it has been some studies, like I said, been done, like so many different things, studies that they've done to prove that these medications are good, and they are a help to us. So, yeah. So we want to make sure, within our, disciplined selves, as we learn to be disciplined to help, when motivation is not there, we want to make sure, like I said, realize that we're not perfect and we won't ever be perfect. So we're going to still let go our perfectionism, which I've kind of talked about a little bit before too. But we want to make sure that we're not putting so much on ourselves if things are not going like we want it to, what like we hoped it be. Um, you know, let go of the perfectionism, and just give ourselves grace and just keep going. Because even like I was saying before with the stalls, if we have stalls or we have plateaus, all of us may, it may come to that at some point, on our weight loss journey. But even if we do, we have that discipline, we got those habits built to help us through that. And we're going to keep going and keep on keeping on, so that we, at some point, it has to break. The stall has to break. The plateau has to break, you know. But remember that your biggest thing is to try to be healthier, try to, do the things that you need to do to make sure that you are striving to be, you know, have better nutrition, have better, with exercise and there's just other lifestyle changes, reducing your stress levels, making sure you're getting enough sleep. All of those things matter. All of those things matter, you know, um, and that's going to help you, get to where you want to be ultimately. And if for some reason the medicine just do not work for you for whatever reason, and you talk to your doctor about it, you keep in touch with them, you talk to your nutrition, your dietitian. If you don't have one, you might want to get one, if that, to try to help you through some things when it comes to nutrition. Because doctors, if they have not studied a lot of nutrition, they may not be able to help you but so much. So having a dietitian, a nutritionist, it helps you a lot, to be able to know what foods is best for you to eat, what regimens is best for you, um, whatever. And even though as we share our journey, we're giving you tips, but again, you still talk to your nutritionists about it or your doctors about it, and just, see what's best for you, and then you try things. And if it don't seem like it's working, you try something else, you know, but, you know, if you just do the things that, like I said, we kind of know what to do when it comes to nutrition. We kind of know that we need to move our bodies, at least 150 minutes a week. That's what my doctor told me. They never told me strength train. You need to strength train. All they told me was move your body 150 minutes at least a week. So with that being said, I knew that. I just wasn't doing it. So this medication helps me to be able to, eat better, because I'm not and eat, kind of eat a little less and things of that nature. So why not go ahead on and jump on this bandwagon now of doing the natural things that we know to do? Because we got this medication that's going to help us perfect or be better, I should say. Not perfect, but be better with what we're doing, what we're trying to do naturally. So yeah, that's what that's I want to, leave with you. Um, and then, like I said, nobody's journey is the same. Everybody's journey is different. It doesn't look like, my journey doesn't look like nobody else's journey. I even think about that with my, like I said, I hear people saying their cholesterol is going down, the LDL is going down, and the HDL is going up, and mine just went the opposite. So it's like, and of course I think, well, why did it do that? But it's some reasons why I did it. And like I said, some people can eat 6 eggs a day and they fine. For some reason, me, I'm only eating the 2 eggs in a sausage patty, and yeah, that didn't serve me well. So guess what? I got to tweak it. I got to figure it out. You know, but I do give myself grace for it. I ain't gonna beat myself up about it. Because of it. I'm just gonna give myself some grace, and I'm gonna go on, move on, and do what I got to do. You know, and that's because of, like I said, the discipline. Do what's right because it's right. So yeah, and then you know you see progress helps you. The more you see it, of course, that shows you that that lets you know you're winning. That lets you know you're doing, doing what you need to do to try to be healthier. Even if you're not doing all the things that you're supposed to do, you're pushing towards that mark. You're pressing in. And it's all about the press. Press in, you know, to get to that goal that you have set. What do you have to do to get there? Think about the goals, write the goals down, you know, write the things that that you maybe undisciplined in. Write that down. Write down the things that you're disciplined in, and see what you can do to try to make sure that you're, to try to be not have the issue of not being disciplined in those areas that you're undisciplined in. Try to work through those things. So I know, okay, like for me, walking, I know I got that down pat. I got the walking down pat, right? Um, Strength training, not as good with it, but I'm doing good. I could do better though. So guess what? I'll go ahead and just keep up with that, with the strength training, so that I can become, better at that. Um, or say if you were not strength training at all and you're just walking and doing aerobics. Okay, well, if you need to strength train because especially if you're of a certain age or you're on a GLP-1 medication, you know you're on a weight loss journey, you're losing fast, like I said, you want to make sure you try to keep that muscle, mass as much as possible. You want them bones to be good, strong, and so therefore, you may say, okay, you know what, I'm not strength training, but I probably need to. I keep hearing about it. It may be speaking to me. So let me go ahead and, that's on my undisciplined because I'm not doing it enough or I'm not doing it at all. And I keep hearing it. And I think it's good. And my doctor told me it's okay and I should and da 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 da. Okay. So you can say, okay, well, you know what? How can I move this from undisciplined area column to the discipline column? What can I do? How much let me try to get some motivation from some people. Let me do, this. Let me buy some cute workout clothes. Let me, get a gym membership. Let me, get um some weights from, one of those places like Five Below or Marshalls or TJ Maxx or something like that. Because I don't want to spend too much money and I'm not gonna really do it, right? So those type places. Let me go ahead and get some of that. Get some of those. I'm looking at these GLP-1 people using, these weights. Let me go grab them while they, doing their thing. I'm gonna start out with a 2, but then I'm a, 2 pounder, and I'm gonna move up a little bit as I go. So those type things, that would be great. And then you'll start seeing progress. And as you see progress, then you'll start feeling like, you know what, I am a winner. I am a winner. I'm moving, I'm progressing, I'm getting better and better and better. And so yeah. and then you can, you feel good about it. You can honor yourself for it. You can better honor people, celebrate people, because they're doing the same thing and you're doing. And the consistency, like Mia had talked about earlier, she mentioned a little bit earlier, you become consistent in it. The more you do it, the more consistent you do it. And that's you showing up for yourself. And we need to show up for ourselves for a change. This medication is helping us show up for ourselves. That self-love, that we've talked about, some of us have talked about, probably all of us at this point have talked about. That's showing self-love by making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, not thinking of it as, as a chore to you, but think of it as, this is going to help me. This is going to help me progress. This is going to help me meet my goals. Think of it like that. Don't think of it as, you know, it's a chore. Oh man, here I go. I got to do this. I don't like this. You know, I'd rather do this than this. I never did this. This type stuff like that. Don't talk like that. Try not to talk like that. Try to, like I said, find that glass half full, not, not empty, or whatever. And that's going to help you with your progression to win, to meet your goals, you know and don't let it be pressure to you. Don't let it cause you undue pressure, extra pressure, whatever. Do a little bit here and there. You don't have to do it all at one time. You got some people that stay in the gym for an hour, 2 hours. But if 15 minutes, if that's all you have, for the moment, especially when you first start, that's okay. It's better than zero, right? It's better than zero. So yeah, you know, think about what I'm saying. Um, and all of this has something to do with mindset shift, right? Like we were saying earlier, the mindset must shift, and allow your mindset to shift so that you can put these things into place and you can practice these things until you get to the point where you are consistent with it, with or without motivation, with or without motivation. Um, yeah. So do that. And again, the scale is not all. It's not the all in all. It's not the all in all. You have to make sure that you are doing, you're celebrating you have your non-scale victories as well as your scale victories. You have to think about that. Yes. And you'll do great. You'll do great if you do all these things. And of course, like I said, tailor it to what you need to do for your own journey. But and keep better health and better and wellness in your forefront of your mind when it comes to um, these medications, weight loss. If you're not on a medication, for those who are just on a weight loss journey and things of that nature, you know, keep health and wellness in the forefront of your mind when it comes down to getting it done, or in the center. Let that be the center, you know, and that way, if the scale is not moving, you're still going to be okay, you know. So Felicia said, Linda and Mel are kind lady, are my kind of ladies. Yes, yes. All right, Jerlene says, Felicia, yes, yes. All right, Mia says, positive attitude towards everything is needed for this journey. Correct, correct. Yes, positive attitude. Not an, get rid of the stinking thinking if you have it. Get rid of the stinking thinking and, be positive about it all, even the times that are difficult, still be positive about it. Find your positive, find a happy place, try to make sure that you are thinking, like I said, glass half full, you know, even when times are tough. Even when times are tough, you have to do that. And you'll be all right. You'll be all right. And you'll learn that discipline will start. You'll see that discipline happening. You'll see the consistency happening, you know, and at some point you'll see your weight loss, going your well as well, if you're doing these things, and even if it's not, guess what? Your health is probably going to get better. More than likely, the health is going to get better so that you can be more vibrant in living. And so, yeah, do y'all have anything else to say? You want to talk about anything else? Right quick. If not, love you, love you. I thank you all for coming tonight. I really, really appreciate it. It was a great topic, I feel, tonight. Hope I, gave you all some things to think about and, y'all do some homework or, I'm saying homework, I'm laughing, but like, I'm saying, just kind of, just thinking about what can you do, to help yourself become better disciplined and, also, that can help your journey along the way, and I'm hoping this conversation kind of sparks those things for you to start thinking about, things that you can do or to continue to do if you've already, done the things that you needed to do. So if that's all, let me see, hold up. Yes, fine. Did I read that on? Find joy. It will make this journey worth it. Yes, 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 Mia. That's so true. So if that's everything, everybody, look, all hearts and minds are clear. I am going to Oh, okay, let's see. Neil says, I'm interested in saying thank you, Miss Kim J. Great job with this topic. And thank you to everyone for sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mia. That's a great note to end on. I love you guys. I hope, that your journey continues to be successful. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you all next Tuesday. I plan to do Tuesday night lives. That's my night, y'all. Stamp of approval on it. So yes, thank you, Miss Jolene. Thank you, and good night to you. And my plan is to go on at 7:45. Do y'all think 7:45 or 8 o'clock? Which one y'all think? Right quick before I go, 7:45 or 8. It's better for y'all, for especially those who've been coming in every week for me. I thank y'all for that. This started as a June challenge for me to get used to, not and conquer these fears. And so I said, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's do it every week. 7:45. Okay, Miss Jerlene. I will do that. I would, my 8 o'clock. Oh boy. Okay. 7:45, 8 o'clock. What do we have another? Love, hugs, and positive vibes. Let's do our picks for Twan Page. Yes, 7:45 works. Okay, 7:45. Another 7:45, y'all. What you think? What you think? Somebody else? Good night, Kim JC at 7:45. Okay, Felicia said, "Go and do that thing at 7:45, girl." All right, so 7:45, y'all. I will be on next Tuesday. Now, if I don't, please give me some grace, please. That's part of my discipline learning to be try to be make sure I'm got everything done before it's time so that I can be here on 7:45 and make sure I hit that live button, because for some reason today I forgot to hit the live button. I thought I did, but I guess it didn't work, and so it took me a little while to get on here. I found out from Mel B. Thank you, Mel B, again for letting me know that I was not on live, but I'm over here just chatting, just going, and nobody was there because I forgot to hit the little button. I guess I didn't hit it right or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, okay, downsize the day was 7:45. All right. I was trying to be like you at 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm. No, you 8:30 now. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, y'all, good night. Love y'all. Have a great week, rest of your week. Go ahead on in if if you're participating in the Twan's Trace of Twan's life, if you're participating in her independence from self-doubt, I think it's called. Go ahead on and post your little pictures of yourself. We supposed to be wearing shorts and a shirt or whatever. She said, like, we were talking about doing Daisy Dukes or short shorts or whatever. But whatever shorts you want to wear, do that. It's summertime. All we're saying is, this is where we came. We were here and now we're here, and we're celebrating that. That we are on our better health journey, that we're doing good, that we have more confidence, that we are loving on ourselves, and things of that nature. So it's a positive thing to do. So if y'all want to do that, you can go on Trace Twan's life live. Check out Dee Dee live, Downstairs a Diva tomorrow. You 8:30. Yeah, check her out 8:30 on tomorrow. And yeah, I thank y'all for coming. Greatly appreciate it. Love y'all. Good night. Good night, Mel B. See y'all later. And be blessed. Yes, 8:30. All right. See y'all later. Love y'all.